Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of thoughtXchange. Today, we will be talking about the digitalization of maintenance operations, and for that, we are joined here by Mr. Rana Azeem. Please introduce
Thank you,
yourself.
Emma, for having me. And I'm the Assistant Operations Manager at INTECH for the Operations and Maintenance Services side of the business. My responsibility is to take care of the O&M contracts within the company and make sure their delivery gets taken care of smoothly.
We can't really talk about the digitalization of maintenance operations without first going over the digitalization of maintenance itself. So, if you can just quickly give us a rundown of what people typically understand when they talk about maintenance digitalization.
So when it comes to digitalization of the maintenance, usually you have data coming from your instruments that gets recorded at DCS SCADA level, and then you have alarm and events based off of that. And based off of those alarm and events, you're doing your maintenance activities like preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance, and corrective maintenances. And then you're using those alarms and events to help you do kind of like the predictive analysis of doing some maintenance work before actually an equipment fails. So that's usually a typical maintenance digitalization. But where you can say the additional changes come in for operations and maintenance digitalization side of the business is the execution of the preventive maintenance as well as the corrective maintenance that is done on the field. And the framework for that needs to be digitalized.
So, when we talk about digitalization of maintenance operations, of course, it is a subset of maintenance, but most people would assume maintenance operation is just people going out in the field and getting some work done. So, what aspects of it are you including when you digitalize maintenance operations?
So, in addition to the previous digitalization, which is the standard maintenance digitalization, the allocation of the resources, the inventory management, the work order execution, and reporting back of those work order executions. That's done through this digitalization effort.
Let's get into it because this sounds very interesting. So, when you talk about, let's start with maybe just the foundation of a maintenance operation, which is your work order. So typically you would have your work orders being generated in a system like SAP or Maximo or Oracle. How do you digitalize that further than what is already being done at maybe a maintenance planner level?
Contrary to a standard execution as of now in the industry, where a work order would be executed and then you would communicate to the vendor to deliver and on that work order, would be either through a phone call, email, or some other means. But with this digitalization effort, you can have integration directly into your SAP, Oracle, or Maximo, where the work order gets created. You can have your vendors integrated in there. So once a work order is opened up, it gets communicated directly to the vendor. And then there is no personnel involved. There is no time lost from the work order generation to bringing it to the execution stage.
And you mentioned that these would be communicated typically through emails or calls or messages. So, is there an aspect of job execution as well that can be digitalized and you can leverage that to improve the output or quality of work?
Yes, definitely. Previously, what happens with the work done in the field gets reported to you in a paper format or an email as a feedback what was done.
Yeah, people
But
would usually just fill out a job completion form and send it.
correct. So in this case, you can digitalize all that effort. So there would be two benefits to it. One, you'll have actual real-time data coming from the field in terms of what has been done, where the work stands as of today, what percentage of it is completed, and how much of that is left. Two, all that feedback is in centralized place, so you can always go back and look at what was done, and then additionally you can do analytics on it, what kind of repetitive failures have been happening, and if there anything that you can do to minimize the downtime on your operations.
Like, for example, maybe instead of checking an email after a week where a worker said some additional work needed to be done,
Correct.
you would have that alert generated directly in your system. Additional work needs to be done on this job.
Correct. And that would directly get communicated back to your, again, SAP, Oracle, or Maximo system. So your planner can do the next steps, making sure that the parts, what are required, are available, and the corrective maintenance can be done.
Okay, so talking about parts, usually when an inventory would already be, you'll have a digital record of your inventory in your maintenance systems. How exactly are you digitalizing that in relation to what you're doing?
Any end user would have their own inventory management softwares, let's say, for example, SAP, and their entire inventory record would be in there. So one, our software or our system has the capability of bringing in their inventory into our system as well. Plus, some of my contracts, they require us to maintain inventory at INTECH shelf as well to make sure that the parts are readily available when required by the customer. So that kind of inventory, now the customer also has visibility to my inventory. Plus, for the people actually doing the work on the field, they have a unified place where they can take a look whether the parts are available at INTECH inventory or the end user inventory, and they'll straight away know, okay, whether can I do this job, let's say in the next day or the next available window, or do I need to order some parts to make sure that this gets taken care of?
Okay. So talking about the availability of people and windows, is there also a scheduling aspect to it that you can digitalize, and how do you go about it?
Once you open up a work order in Maximo, you would be able to schedule it immediately. So I would talk about the service level agreements that we have with the end users. Some of our end users require us to respond within 12 hours or 24 hours or 48 hours, for example. So a lot of the time that gets lost in the communication, the manual mode of communication, I would call it, now can be eliminated where a request gets opened up in Maximo. I have it. My planner can be immediately on top of it. A team can get assigned to it. And then they know straight away that, okay, next available window within 12 hours, they have to respond to XYZ asset to make sure that the job gets taken care of.
Would you also have an aspect of maybe geolocation or mapping to see where your personnel are located on a site, so you can dispatch them based on the nearest distance or how long they would get somewhere?
A very good point, I would say. The digitalization effort would actually help the end user keep track of all the digital assets. Right now, this could be like a manual record for this. They have the assets, but they don't have the details. What kind of equipment is installed on those assets? And how many failures have been happening on a particular equipment on a particular asset? So those kind of insights you can have as part of the digitalization effort where you don't only have the assets, let's say I would call it well 100. On well 100, you'll have an RTU panel, you'll have an ESD panel, and you'll have a Christmas tree, for example. So on within each of these panels, there could be hundreds of parts involved. And this digital record can be in a centralized place where you'll know exactly, let's say, a particular pump, a motor, or a valve is failing on which particular site, which particular equipment. So that kind of digitalization of records would help you have your inventory digitalized or your assets digitalized, I would call it. On top of that, geolocation for the personnel, that's also available for the schedulers and the planners. So they know exactly how to kind of like plan the jobs, make sure how many jobs can be executed in a day, and whatever needs to be planned for the following day and the next available window can be done accordingly.
Since you look after the maintenance operations here, have you any stories to share where you've successfully not only done the digitalization for your own team, you've also incorporated the digital infrastructure from one of your clients and provided them a higher level of service and execution?
A major end users in Middle East area, we have done integration with their digital system as well, where the work order generated on their end gets communicated directly to us, and we assign the resources. Assignment for the resources for the required task is done based on their competency, skills that are required. Let's say if it's mechanical, then a mechanical technician gets assigned to it. If it's instrumentation technician gets assigned to it.
So you have a record of your personnel based on the skills that they have within your system.
Correct. So the scheduler and the planner, they have the visibility as well as the end user has the visibility of the skill set and the competency of the personnel that are getting assigned to the job. And not only that, but the digitalization of their inventory system along with ours, because in this particular contract, I had to manage inventory for the customer as well. So that one was also taken care of. End result for that was the execution side of it was done efficiently. So the end user not only saved, you can say, on the hours spent to manage this maintenance work, but also it helped them achieve through digitalization and seeing the mean time between failures as well as the repetitive failures that have been happening. They were able to do preventive, predictive maintenance instead of the reactive approach for corrective maintenance done on those assets. And they optimize their inventory as well to make sure that the required parts would be available before the breakdown happens on the site.
I see this heading towards a discussion that I think our audience is anticipating as well. That would be the cost incurred to get to where you are and the return on investment for that. So if we talk about, how much additional in terms of total maintenance cost, how much additional cost was this to digitalize all of these operations?
So the digitalization cost is, I would say, less than 1% of the budget that has been allocated for the maintenance within the contract.
That's pretty cheap. So
And
it's just license costs. I believe you guys are using a
yes, so it's
software.
a subscription based model. So the cost is not huge at all, but the benefits are very substantial in the terms of investment that you're doing. Like I said previously, you'll be able to get a lot of analytics out of it, and then you can make your business decisions based off of those analytics to make sure that your operations uptime as well as your KPIs in the long terms are met.
So if you had to maybe put a number on the number of hours saved or the number of uptime that increased, would you say the benefits moved into maybe 5 or 6 figure sums?
Oh, yeah. So let's say the investment is going to be for the digitalization, I would say it's going to be in thousands. And then the return on that investment is going to be above 6 figures that you will get back.
As my last question, in your opinion, what direction do you see the future heading when it comes to digitalization of maintenance, and what's the outlook?
The digitalization is happening globally.
That's
It's
already
it's
happening.
it's inevitable. So all operations have to be kind of like digitalized going into the future. Not only because you would need more efficiency to make sure that you manage your cost efficiently, but also the operating budgets, they are getting revised as well for end users by the virtue of the business and the competition that's happening in the industry. It's not a question at this point whether you're going to digitalize or not. It's only, I would say, when you're going to digitalize. So the sooner you do it, the better for you. It's going to help you align your organization for digitalization initiatives that are happening at the business level. And by doing the maintenance and operations digitalization, your company would be ready to take on that challenge into the future.
That's all the time we had for today. Thank you for joining us, Rana, and thank you all of you for watching this episode. If you guys want to see the other stuff that we've done, you can go through our channel and check out our previous episodes. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.